Yo, hook my mic up, please. Please come out so clear.
Excuse me.
Now, question is it hidden in plain sight?
Yes, as you can see, most definitely, we are
hidden in plain sight.
Every Sunday on the Genesis Communications Network from 3 to 5 nationwide. He is a great person, a great character, and without any further ado, let's get motivated and let's find out what's hidden in plain sight. Mr. Sean Anthony, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our special guest, Mr. Sean Anthony. Mr. Anthony, what would you consider? I know this is probably one of the hard question. What would you consider your top favorite Floor Wisdom interviews?
Well, I have to start it out with, that's the easy one. I have to start it out with Brother Steve Coakley, because it was because of him that interview is what changed the trajectory of the show. And since then, I mean, like I said, it's just been nonstop. His interview opened me up to a different direction, and it opened me up to a wealth of a bunch of other wonderful guests. So for number one, I have to start off with Steve Coakley. And my interview with him was one of the last major terrestrial radio interviews, because I interviewed him before I got picked up for syndication on the Genesis Communications Network. So that interview was heard on the radio in Richmond, VA. And, what's interesting about that interview, that was the last interview before he passed away, before he transitioned. After that, he did some interviews on the internet, but I don't think he's done any on the radio. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, man. So you said what was my favorite one, or what was the question that
I was what are your top favorite interviews?
Yeah, so Steve Coakley for sure. I always love it when I have Robert X on. The series that I did, it was a series that I did. It was a couple of series where the one was CERN, D-Wave. What did I call that series? It was called CERN, D-Wave, and something. But I had Kalindi Iyi and Robert X on. That's one. Then there was a series I did called Time Travel and Parallel Universes. And I had author Louis Malklica, Robert X, and Kalindi Iyi on that series. It was like a 4-part series, a 6-part series or something like that. My Kalindi Iyi interviews are always very interesting to me. The gentleman who I just interviewed today, he's a friend, a personal friend, and I've had him on the show numerous times over the years, since the very beginning of Floor Wisdom, which is Wilbur Allen, UFO expert.
Oh.
Yeah, I just got off with him. Who else? Yeah, that's just to name a few. I interviewed Professor Griff. That was an interesting interview, but that was in the early years of Flow of Wisdom. But those are the ones that stand out to me, for Flow of Wisdom.
Vessel 2, would you like to comment?
I got a quick question. As far as the information that you uncover, and you stated that, you got burnt out. The information that you recover or you receive and you research, it is enough to make you go kind of bananas. So how
Right.
do you deal with it? I mean, there's so much information that we get, right? And you know, half of it is true, I would say. And then you have to filter out the stuff that just doesn't make sense. Now, once you have this truth, and I'm assuming because it happened to me that your circle becomes small because the truth usually scares away people, and
Exactly.
you're left with something that can be helpful, but it seems to harm those who just doesn't get it. Is that the same for you? I mean, do you experience it that way? Just knowing so much information is kind of like you have to limit yourself to a certain degree, because if you tell everybody, then you're just going to chase off a lot of people.
Yeah, man. You know, life is all about balance, and balance is one of the challenging things in life, right? A lot of what I talk about on Floor of Wisdom, I don't talk about the people.
Okay.
Like I honestly don't, unless a conversation is brought up to me and something is initiated. I usually don't bring it up, you know, unless it's somebody that's connected some way, shape, or form to my show and they reach out to me directly. I'll engage. But when I go to the school to teach, ain't nobody asking me about quantum physics or CERN, the Large Hadron Collider. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody asking me, you know, about magic mushrooms, psilocybin, and the information you can get from taking that and stuff like that. Or nobody's asking me about, you know, my thoughts on artificial intelligence and the transhumanism movement. You know, nobody talks to me about those things. I keep it to myself. But if the conversation comes up and someone asks me, I'll bring it up. You know, I'll bring it up. But you know, that's how I'm able to navigate, you know, throughout it. You know, some of my close friends, they only one out of, like, for example, I got close friends I can count on one hand. But there's this one group, me and two others, you know, we went to high school together. One knows the content, the stuff that I talk about. He'll engage with me, you know, and we'll talk about some of the things that I talk about. But the other one has no freaking clue. You know what I'm saying? He has no clue. He thinks that, you know, he found one video and thinks that's all I talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like yo, you know, I don't even waste my time, you know, trying to explain. If it's frustrating, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I'm not even gonna waste my time and energy trying to explain to you. If that's what you think, all right, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? But my other close friend, he knows, he knows what I talk about, and you know, he'll try to share some stuff with him, but you know, he doesn't dive deep into the research like I do, but he's conscious. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The circle is kind of small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see. It is a balance, and you're correct. Life is a balance, and it's difficult line to walk sometimes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Questions. You know. This year, 2022. We here at Vessel 2 and I, we posed to put out or to seek things that's actually coming to reality sooner than we expect. Like you mentioned earlier, how things have progressed so fast. And one of the things that's up and running, I'm pretty sure you know about, is this metaverse, or the meta matrix, as we call it, and how that it's now to the point where it seems like they're trying to get everyone to invest or become part of this new virtual reality or virtual world. what is your take on that?
Well, just through my research over the years, man, this is the natural progression that I already knew that's going to happen. This is the inevitable. Okay, where, and it's all under the transhumanism movement, right? Where your transhumanism is the merging of technology and humans, right? Everything's is going to be integrated. Everything is already integrated now, but it's going to be at a grand scale in the future. My prediction, my personal prediction is, and I've said this on the show countless times, that in the future, you're not going to be able to know if the person you're communicating with is human or machine or both. There's going to come a time in the near future where you're not going to be able to determine the two. This social media world that we live in it's blending the two now, and people are having. This is why you have like cases of depression with teenagers as it pertains to social media, even adults, and the addiction to social media. I mean, we can get into the psychological aspects of that and why people are addicted. We can definitely talk about that. But aside from that, the reason why people are having a hard time is because they can't separate the two, right? Because they merge the worlds. They think that when they scroll on their phone, this is real. And to an extent, it is, but you know, like when the protests and stuff was going on, even, you know, back like to the days of just when the protests and stuff were going on. And I would always tell people on my platform, what you see on your timeline or what I see on my timeline is not what I see in reality. I don't see the same thing in real life, but people get so engulfed and sucked into this device that they believe that this is all, you know, this is all real. And again, to some extent it is, but it ain't, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying?
That Black Mirror is powerful.
But say that again?
So that Black Mirror is powerful.
Exactly. It draws you in, because the reason why it's powerful, Vessel, too, is because of the psychological ramifications, the sophistication with psychology integrated into the technology. It's done intentionally, you know. But this whole metaverse thing, and it's an augment reality. It's a natural progression. It's a natural progression. That it's going to be like that in the next 10 to 15 years. You know, you'll be able to talk to your watch and tell your car to start up and warm, and pull around the front to pick you up. You know, you get in, the car senses you. When you walk up to it, it opens the doors. There's vehicles like that right now.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, we're in Asia, so Japan is not there yet. But we both can remember the time being here where we would have technology that was more far in advance than the technology in the States.
Exactly.
So, for example, when we first got over here in the 80s, Sony Walkmans and Nintendo was in baby shoes.
Huh.
And they are pretty much, you know, mainstream home appliances now, Nintendo. But Japan lost its steam, and they are not technology advanced as China. But in China, a lot of what they have been able to accomplish is what they're saying is going to be the model platform for the world. And
China made it a point. I did a show on this the beginning of, I think, 2019. China made a decision to be the world's leader in artificial intelligence. They didn't want to follow after nobody else. So they poured not all of their, but they poured their resources into developing, the research and development for artificial intelligence and technology. They are the ones that came up with the social credit score. They set the precedent.
Been busy. They've been busy, and a lot of, I guess, a lot of negative notion has been thrown their way for how they conduct their economy. But when it comes to educating their people to move in certain industries, it seems like they're the forefront of that also.
Yeah. I mean, they figured it out. They know what they want and they're achieving it. And you look at America's public education system, it sucks. It's horrible. It's
Right.
But they'll paint the narrative that we're the greatest. And really, in all actuality, the public educational system in America, it's failing dismal. It's just ridiculous. Like, you would think that certain things should be taught in the schools, but it takes me back to a book by what's her name? Catherine Iserby. She wrote a book called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. And it's basically a book about the deliberate dumbing down in America through the public educational system. And this is a woman that worked in the government at a high level for the Department of Education. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, well, you can see, how things has fallen under that. Not to say this word like Dr. X say, the narrative of how they have literally reprogrammed America and far as is learning, and like Vessel 2 would always say that critical thinking of individuality, critical thinking is long out the door. Now everything is thought for you. It's you have just one or two. It's either this or that. We now have lost that edge of thinking outside the box. And this is it's a sad notion to see. And I think this is one of the reasons why we're in the predicament that we're in now. I mean, worldly, not to cross over, but when it comes to this jab and vaccine agenda, they really, got people nose wide open without any sense of researching or looking into what they should be doing. So it's a sad situation, but that's my opinion. That so pushing along. Vessel 2, is there anything that you would like to ask Brother Sean?
I would like to know, going forward, do you see things getting any better as far as the advancement of America as a whole, when it comes to education, when it comes to international relations? Do you see us coming together as Americans and moving in the right direction for once?
I don't know, man. That's a good question, because when you got a media that deliberately divides, it's really difficult to say. It's going to take something significant to happen for Americans, most Americans, to awake out of the slumber and see humanity for what it is. You know, it's difficult to come together when you have social media and media. And now, mind you, they're the same exact thing. Okay. That's just an extension of one another. Social media,
generational,
and mainstream media, they're extensions of the same thing. But the psychological programming into it, it's made to cause division, discord. And if people can set the devices down and listen to one another, then the wall can come down, and they'll see how people can see how much commonality we all have as humans. I was watching, I think it was 60 Minutes. I think it was 60 Minutes where they were talking about, they pulled, and it might be a different program, but they pulled people in a room and they had each person sit across from one another, and they read each other's bios, and they didn't know whether they were a Republican or a Democrat. They didn't know what side of the political aisle that they read, that they were on. But it was like, for example, it was a black woman, and then it was a white woman sitting across from her. The white woman was reading the black woman's bio, and the black woman was reading the white woman's bio. And they noticed that they had lots of similarities, right? They had lots of things in common. But what they did not know is that they were on two opposite sides of the spectrum for their political views. Because you hear the liberals and the conservatives, they bicker at one another. This Democrats do this, man. Those Republicans, they do that. And they think this is just great divide. But they found out that there were so many things that they had in common, and that they wanted some of the same goals. They didn't realize that some of the same objectives and goals that they wanted for the country were the same. But this divide, this system that has been created, it ain't working. And people are starting to realize that, and people are starting to request for a change.
That's good. Yeah, it's noticeable. I think the divide is really noticeable. And I'm not really sure, because we're not there. I'm not sure how the atmosphere is on the ground. But we know, living outside of the States, that you can't believe everything in media, especially when it comes to certain groups in America.
Exactly.
I'll give you a prime example of how, at least here in Japan, they look at America. When you encounter, let's say, a half Japanese person and a half other mixed race person, usually from America, if they're half European or half white, or just throw that term out there, they would just say, Japanese and American.
Right.
But if you meet a Japanese and, just a terminology, black mix, then they would say, I'm black if they're from America, or they would say, I'm Japanese and whatever country they come from. But there's a distinct difference between being American and being black when it comes to the viewpoint of the people in Japan. And
That's interesting.
Yeah. And because of that, just growing up, off and on, most of my time has been in Japan, on the planet. So just knowing that, the images that they have seen over the years is not a true representative of any country, nonetheless, America. But then to actually go home, on vacations or whatnot, and then have, your guard has to go back up automatically. and then you have to watch for your placement because it is divided. You know, you can't really you can't operate on your own thinking without thinking first of who's in my operating area. And it depends on how you look, how you dress, and how you sound.
So do they treat black people differently over there in Japan?
Well, I say yes, but I think the problem with black people from America, and generally speaking, is we don't travel.
Exactly.
And once you travel outside of America, I haven't been everywhere, but I'm assuming majority of the places that you go, you're going to see people who look just like you, or they're not going to be that much of a shade difference from you if that's what you look for. And It's just a matter of speaking to these people, no matter where you're at, or, you know, just speaking to people. Doesn't matter the skin complexion, but just speaking to people. And then I say that the feeling of coming out of America as a black person, you can feel your ancestors working through you. And you feel like, okay, what I've been oppressed with in my country doesn't exist because I'm outside of my country and there's no obstacles for the most part.
Right. Yeah, man, I can attest to that. And I do agree, man. Black people overall don't travel a lot, and they should. You know, it's a whole planet here. You know, like I said, I just got back. Well, it was another interview. I just got back from the Dominican Republic.
Nice.
You know, I've traveled to Abu Dhabi, and what a wonderful experience that was over there. To be in such a rich country, a young country too. Young meaning that it's only been in existence, 50, 60 years. But my experience there forever changed my life. You know what I'm saying? Because nowhere in the world, nowhere have I ever traveled at that point was I treated with such dignity and royalty. You know what I'm saying? On a consistent basis every day that I was there. I was literally in my hotel room the first 24 hours crying in my hotel room, asking myself, how can I stay here? How can I go back? You know what I'm saying? How can I go back to a country that doesn't treat me this way? You know what I'm saying? Like I was literally in tears, like I was overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? And I came back, you know, to the States. And when I was over in Abu Dhabi, when I would go to the stores, you know, people of the European ethnicity would part their ways like the Red Sea for me. You know what I'm saying? They would move out my way, you know. When I come back to America, I'm in Target and this old white lady just running her little cart like, you better move out there. You know. You know, yeah. but I had this countenance on me. I had this I just got back. I was like, I am royalty. I am right. You right. Move. You know
right. Yeah, exactly.
But you know, when I was there, you know how we get harassed here in America, in the stores, at the mall. Can I help you? Can I help you? Just very rude and just watching you, you know, staring at you if you're going to steal anything. Man, when I was over there, lady greeted me. Good afternoon, sir. Is there anything I can do for you, sir? And gave me like 6 feet distance before we had to do 6 feet distance. You know what I'm saying? You know, just, you know, a subservient. Just what can I do for you, sir? Is there anything I can do for you? No, I'm fine. Thank you. Okay, sir. Would you like to try these shoes on, sir? Sure, let me try those in my size and bring out which color. How about I bring all the colors out for you, sir? Like just royalty, especially when I wore the traditional garb that the men wear. And when I wore that, they thought that I was original. You know, they thought I was originally. I had my full beard. I was rocking my full beard, and it's so ironic, man. Just before I got on, my friend that I was there with just texted me a picture or sent me a WhatsApp picture of him and I when we were in Abu Dhabi, and he was just telling me that, you know, our friend that we met there, we call him Honey Muhammad. He's in Egypt. Wants us to visit Egypt. Wants us to come to Egypt to see him. But he just sent me a picture when I was over there in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah,
Literally,
that,
just before we got on the phone. That's me.
nice.
That's me.
Yeah,
Oh, that's smooth. Yeah, that's smooth. Yeah.
the Lord has arrived. Service
Right.
him
That's
well.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been the. I'm not going to say my total experience outside of America, but yeah, I mean, to me, once you leave as a melanated person coming out of America, once you leave outside of the borders, you can even go to South America, as far as I'm concerned, because I've been to Colombia, and you feel the transformation, and you can feel like, okay, I am God. Not in the sense that I control everything, but in the sense that I have control over myself. So therefore, if I present myself in the right way, there shouldn't be any obstacles in my way. And respect is what we should be giving each other naturally anyway. So I have no problems respecting somebody, and I have no problems respecting somebody else's culture, as long as, you know, the respect is equal. So yeah, I think that's definitely missing out of our home training. We don't have necessarily an outlet for us to get out to.
Yeah, most Americans are cocky and like a sense of entitlement, you know,
course.
spoiled, arrogant, not cocky, arrogant, and have this sense of entitlement. And you hit the nail on the head, Vessel, too, where you was, you know, you have to have an appreciation for different cultures, and traveling will help you with that. You know what I'm saying? Traveling will help you with cultures, you know, appreciating different cultures. You can't go up in somebody else's house and somebody else's house and expect them to act according to how you were raised with your family. No, it's different like that. It's different.
Right.
You know, some cultures you got to take your shoes off before you enter the building.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, some cultures, you know, you got to leave your hat on. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, take your hat off. Some cultures, women, you better cover your head. Put something on your head before you go in. You just abide by it. Don't be like, don't stick your nose up at that. Respect the culture. You know, you're not in your land. You're in foreign land. And having that just gives you a different appreciation, man. When I traveled, I was overseas, you know, you meet so many people from other parts of the world, you know, and it's just a wonderful experience, man. And it helps develop your own sense of culture as well, I think.
I agree. Wholeheartedly.
Let's see. Wow. This episode has been phenomenal. I really appreciate your time that you spend with us, Mr. Sean Anthony. We look forward to doing this again. We're a little bit under. We only got about 4 minutes. Is there anything else would you like to speak on? What's the future looking like for Mr. Sean Anthony?
What's the future looking like, man? I've done a couple of short films. I'm in a movie. I did a movie. It's out now. It's on Tubi. I did a scene where I play a detective, FBI. The movie is called The Female Hustler. Again, like I said, I had a small part in that, but I did it, and it's out. You can see it on Tubi TV. In addition to that, man, you know, I'm figuring out some things on what I'm going to do with Flow of Wisdom. I'm working on some things too that I'm not going to put out there just yet, but I am working on some things under the Flow of Wisdom umbrella. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you brothers for inviting me on. Just let me know the next time you want to do it again. Don't hesitate, man. It's nothing. As long as we work out the schedule, we'll get it done. So just let me know. But outside of that, man, I got a couple of things, like I said, brewing. Just stay, for those out there listening, the website is flowofwisdom.com. That'll be the way to get connected with me. Anything pertaining to Flow of Wisdom.
Appreciate you for your time.
Just appreciate that. And with that, we'd like to thank our listeners and everyone. This is Vessel 1 and Vessel 2 signing out. But like always, before we go, Vessel 2, can you give us your final thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's listening. This has been very educational and very heartwarming to actually be able to reach out and talk to someone who has inspired you. I say, if you are able to do so, do so. As always, stand on your square, take care of the ones who you consider to be loved ones. Stay virus free. Peace.
Peace.